Much as I thought I could plan a podcast, that is not going to happen. I do not have the mindset to sit here. Chop up block for block how I'm going to tell you about weight loss and weight gain. Good morning on this Sunday, January 9th, 2022. The time is 1:37 a.m. and welcome to Early in the AM Leash. In the previous episode, I talked a little bit about the shy and my feelings about growing up in the hood, but I've been thinking about some other stuff too, on and off the record. Mostly dark matter, intangibility, dark matter. And the two have nothing to do with each other, but in this instance, they're sitting next to each other on a bus, which is absolutely insane. I was reading a little bit about the Ahmaud Arbery case and how the three men involved with his murder were sentenced to life in prison, one with the possibility of parole after 30 years. And the feeling of racism is so past fear. It's so past certain things. The only place I can put it in is in dark matter, something that's way out in space. Like, racism is it's a creative matter. It's something that is a belief struck up, and the belief only lives as long as the people who put the work in to keep it going. As soon as they stop doing it, the thing dies. That's just how it is. It doesn't have a natural life of its own. You have to keep feeding it hate, feeding it fear, insecurity, and ignorance for it to thrive. As soon as you stop feeding that, it goes away. That's just how life is. And I think it's just the system created by it, through that the labor force of the Africans that were sent here. It's just the creative mind is linked to the planet itself, because that's the only thing that infinitely keeps going, bound to its own rotation. I think those Africans, those slaves, those ancestors of ours, brains were beat from their cultural normalcy, their peopledom, to the cyclicals of dark matter and outer space. Brains were bashed into the planet at velocities that went from life force to negative, from life force into positive, and then in death, they were subjected to sappage, having their spirits sapped even in death. And that creates a heartbeat adjacent, to civilдom, to rights, to human dignity. That those types of off-putting beats get pummeled into dark matter. Dark matter is like this sap region of overexerted energy that's just so intense. It's so embalmed in itself. It's just a throbbing that cannot be cured of itself. Creative disasters it's like seeing, aren't explosions perfect? You ready to cure this explosion? You ready to fit it in a 4x4 box so it could perfectly explode within these perimeters and then, never violate the lines? It's just the supernatural law of destruction all over again. Destruction is not a clean, clear, equal, or even act. It just isn't. It never has been. I just sometimes, especially like when it's not even about the creative thought anymore, when it's just amiss, when the amiss attacks the amiss, you don't really see where the anger is coming from, but the two are going heads up. It's almost look like dark matter at work, just two sapped energies that are just constantly in implosion, beyond the millisecond, just constantly boiling in and just looking for something to attack, to stop the imploding. stop imploding. And then the thing pushes itself, stop imploding, and then it destroys itself on contact. It becomes one in destruction. And then it evens itself out that way. And then the bodies it leaves in its wake. It's like Jupiter again on the phone. Pick up the phone. If you don't pick up the phone, I'm going to make you pick up the phone. The intangibility of the black culture and the lineage, the obligation left on them by Christianity, it's almost a curse sometimes. You are forced to believe it. Your knee is going to be forced to bow to it. You are going to be obligated to this chain to fix the crack in the American system. When it comes to racism, when it comes to the fear pummeling through the veins, you and this Christian God of Jesus Christ are bound to this land for the rest of eternity. You are closer to fixing this than anything else. As soon as you go to leave here, just be somewhere else, you're going to be reminded of the work needed to be done here, and it's just going to keep pulling you back. Like that whole crabs in a bucket. It's like a guarantee. It's like we're going to go from this belief to this belief. And no matter what it is, as soon as you hit Jesus, you're going to be obligated forever. Your bodies will be bound to the salvation of Jesus. And that is, in all essence, that is a hell worth living, if that's what it truly is. It's a hell worth living. If I'm bound to worship Jesus, to keep curing what's going on in my community, to help us soothe these wounds of promiscuity, and violence, and drug use, oppression, financial ruin, and all the things that treat us beneath ourselves. We keep finding this Jesus person. We keep getting nailed to this cross. We keep getting reminded of a flaw that we may or may not have before we even knew who Jesus was. Keep being reminded of it. We keep being reminded to break in this other place, to let out this salvation, not that one. Let out this salvation. This salvation cures this wound and this wound alone. You're gonna clear our dissonance. You're gonna close this gap. And then when we see what's wrong, even if we don't care why we're wrong, at least we're gonna let you see it, so at least you can help yourselves or something. Your intangibility means too much to our country. Your value isn't even in our dollars. It's not even in our dollars. It's in the shape itself. It's whatever America is, whatever speaking America is, whatever speaking American exceptionalism is, that throbbing that comes off the tongue when you say that word, that is the black culture, right underneath it. Like oil to the hillbillies. Like, oh my God, look at the oil. And then you look at the oil, then you look overseas, you're like, yeah, look at the oil. Look at it. What is it going to fix? What are we bound? We're so bound to it. We go in and out of life and death, and then life again, and we're still doing it. We can be good though. Sometimes I look, when I start talking to the highway again, I can almost see at the exits. I see like a small door of like dark matter just there, just throbbing in existence, like just pulsating, almost like on a hot summer day we could see the steam rising up from the concrete. And that's what it kind of looks like, the sun's rays hitting the earth and then it bouncing back into the atmosphere. That kind of steam. It's just like a dark matter thing. Something that might spark a heartbeat, something that'll create that new creativity. You just show me how it starts. I got the idea. As soon as you looked at me, I got the idea, and I was just off. I was just done with it. Falling in love so I can protect you from. I want to love you from afar. I want you to know it's there. Because I know I can't touch you. I know I can't. There's so much drama waiting to happen if I do. There's so much ecstasy waiting if I do. I'm just torturing myself. This is such a suicidal bliss. It really is. Every moment is torture, and I love it. But it's not going to be that way for long. Because the more I endure it, the more the teacher comes in and instructs me, the more I'm nailed into this submission, the more I realize I'm not coming down from this cross. I'm just not coming down from it. Like, it's never going to let me go. It wasn't designed to. I'm just imploding too, and I'm just going to bump into that one who implodes and going to push me, and then in this pushing, we're just going to cancel each other out. It's just going to be another one that gets added to the rest. And we just start the process all over again till we keep clearing ourselves out, till we're just almost rid of it. And then when we're back to that creative thought, and then someone picks it up and be like, social class. As they put on their glasses, staring at the sun, killing all the ants crawling up their legs. Trying to reach for that fourth dimension. The brain of a monkey on fleek, I guess. Nah, you have to see me now, though. I have to see you now. I always have to see you right now. You're the only one I have to see every single time. There's no other answer. There's no other person to show up with the exact intensity to match the answer. Even if they got it, they don't show up. I'd rather junk it and use it for something else. You're not as relevant or as important anymore. And I get it. Importance is definitely driven by the need to energize and to stay relevant. And then you're important as the secret you hold, the closet you come out of. Your infinite regress and wonder. And your mysterio. Because as much as we can assume and run through you till your bones turn into dust, we still don't know anything about it. It was such a final second, that final shot, and we never know if you made it, if you won the game. We just know you have the ball, and it's like 2 seconds left. And you're always going to have that ball till that test can get to you so we can know what it is. It's that every single time, no matter how much we've practiced without you. No matter how many players we've groomed in the top schools, every time it comes down to the last 2 seconds, we keep giving your fat ass the ball. Take the shot we know you're making, because I seem to always do make it. I always seem to make it back to this celibacy box. I always make it back to that 3-point line every single time. And I've never practiced 3 points. I practice layups. But for some reason, they got me out here trying to make this long distance shot. And I see my body belongs in the paint. I was like, obviously, I've been out of the paint for too long. And now my blood is thirsty for paint. That's just basketball, though. Basketball talk. The intelligence of black people. It's the civility, though. When they find their civilness, it's a definitely different ball game. It's a different type of black magic. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely watch some more of The Shy. I can definitely get into it. You know what other movies I haven't seen? I haven't seen none of the slave movies. I haven't seen 12 Years a Slave, Selma. There's a couple I haven't seen. There's one I did see. I saw the Django, but that's different. That's not based on, truth or human events. It's fictional, but, I've seen The Hateful Eight, stuff like that. But, oh yeah, and I did see The Harder They, it's in The Harder They Fall has that same element of love that's real addictive, especially between the main character, I can't think of his name, and Mary, I can't think of his name. I'm gonna ruin the moment if I speak on it. Yeah, sometimes when That's one thing I can tell you. When a black man, especially when grounded and rooted in hood